Welcome back. My first guest is the special advisor to the president on policy communications, Mr. Daniel Bwala, joining us from our Abuja studio. Mr. Bwala, it's good to see you again. Welcome to the program.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, and good evening.
I have had time to see some of the videos of some interviews you've already granted, and it looks like, let's begin with politics before we get to issues around governance within the time we have. It looks like the APC and the presidency is having the best time of their life, seeing what is playing out in the opposition. Literally gloating, if you will, allow me to use that word, from yourself to Bayo Nanuga to the Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, who posted, I think, today and said, look, I know it's not my business, but allow me to do this, where I was talking about using an analogy to talk about what's playing out in the ADC. Why is the presidency so interested in what is playing out in the opposition?
I don't think it's the right word to say we're interested, but there is this thing called rebuttal, right? When somebody makes a claim, you get the opportunity to rebut his claim or to clarify or state your own case. And you ask whether we are excited about what is happening with the opposition or in the opposition camp. No, we're actually saddened by the fact that they have not been able, given all the opportunities they have, to come together and stay organized so we can have a competitive election and we can have a viral opposition in government, because we welcome the idea of an opposition that will come with superior ideas so we can continue to engage Nigerians on our various ideas with the hope that Nigerians would choose. So they are actually denying the Nigerian people the opportunity to make a choice. But that is not surprising, because we know that the opposition consists of largely internally displaced politicians, some of whom are desperate for power, some of whom they are aggrieved because they left our party, maybe opportunities were not given to them in their own words, and some because they are desperados, so to speak. And desperate people do desperate things. That's why you see in the last few months, they have been up and about doing desperate things, but the Nigerian people are watching. That is the best part of it. The Nigerian people know anybody who believes that he wants to challenge the present government has to state his case to the Nigerian people as to why he thinks that the path President Bwala Tinubu is leading the country is not the path. A few days ago, Mr. Geoffrey, you must have seen them fighting each other from left and right in different television stations. Some of them are going left, right, and center, trying now to eat their words and explain why they have to be jumping political parties within 2 months. This was the same thing they were using against us. In those days, they say we change parties, we don't have principle. But you can see how they've been jumping up and down like table tennis. And so it is really saddening. But we're hoping that after 2027 election, Nigerian people give us the opportunity to come back. We will be able to provide this platform where younger generation and not desperados will get the chance to build up a philosophy for the future of Nigeria, but certainly not this present crop of politicians in the opposition.
The people will argue that you are all the same, that the stability you enjoy as the APC, because power is an aggregator, it brings stability. But let me stay with what you claimed just now. This is the first time I'm hearing you say this. Maybe you said it before, but this is the first time I'm hearing you say that you're not happy that the opposition is struggling. But that doesn't sound like what the president said. The president was even telling the Senate president at the NRC building commission that maybe he will send Senator Akpabio to go and scatter them. And then the chief of staff to the president, during Mr. Bejide's wife's, I think, birthday or their wedding anniversary, said, stay in the ADC, scatter them, we like what you're doing. So are you really sure you speak the mind of all of you that you're not happy this is happening?
Yes. No, this is sarcasm, and it's a reaction to the various catch and shoot that the opposition people have been bandying and parading with around the country. Today they will say that the government is stifling opposition. Another day they will come and say it's a one-party state. Another day they will come and say the government is out against them. But if you look at their problems, most of them, their problem did not start with President Bwala Tinubu. Take, for example, my former principal, Atiku Abubakar. His problem started from his days when he got the ticket of the party with Wike, and it continued. President Bwala Tinubu was not the president at that time. And that problem metamorphosed into various problems, including people around him who felt it is their turn to also run. And why not him? With respect to Peter Obi, his problem started from when he left ABGA. And he left ABGA in confusion. And since that day, he has been a nomadic politician, from one pillar to post, jumping left, right, and center. So it is not with President Bwala Tinubu. Then when they went to these political parties, Mr. Geoffrey, Courtesy demand that when you go to a political party, you sit and dialogue with them and agree on how you can come in. They just came and took over Gestapo operation in ADC at the time. And they just made the chairman, the treasurer or national secretary or whatever, and then they assumed that they took over the party. That is why the other time in sarcasm, the president said that they went to one party to privatize it, and the people said no, they do not agree with that kind of privatization. So when I say I am not happy, I'm not happy in the sense that they are confusing themselves, thinking they are confusing Nigerians. You know, they have not presented an intellectual opportunity for us to engage. We are ready with more than enough
Mr. Bwala,
facts
sorry,
argue.
With you, there's a lot to discuss, so I'm just going to be jumping, if you don't mind, so that we can make the most of the conversation. So I've had conversations across both lines, on TV, everywhere, and they said that given the president's history, my words now, being a tactical immobilizer, that's the analogy, by using my words now. When he was the governor of Lagos State, not allowing opposition to hold sway. In fact, what you call the axis of disruptions, that the leadership of the APC, or the APC, let me just use that word generally, APC is busy planting people within opposition to make sure that no matter where they run to, there is instability. You've heard this allegation over and over and over again. And this is one of the first times we're seeing in a dispensation where literally almost all the quote-unquote big leading opposition political parties cannot even put their acts together, one fight or the other. Somebody will say, first time could be an accident, second is a coincidence, third time is deliberate. Why under the administration of Bwala Tinubu, our president, the opposition cannot even breathe?
See, this is what they give in defense to their inability to accept responsibilities. Do you know that the major presidential aspirants, both Atiku and Peter Obi, they have always run away from responsibility instead of sitting and resolving the problem of their respective parties? Let me give you another analogy. When you talked about the president right from Lagos, he is known for planting people in the opposition. I know the way you are sounding, Geoffrey, it's like you've been living outside Nigeria. But if you have been living in Nigeria for the period after 2019, when the governing party, PDP, came on board, if you recall, President Bwala Tinubu, as a leader of the opposition, had a lot of states in the southwest that were in his party. I'm sure if you had, the reason why I say if you have been in Nigeria, because it has been reported over and over, how consciously, intentionally, calculatively, intelligently, the PDP collected back states in the south. By fire, by force, they collected states from Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He did not cry. He didn't say that the world is changing up and down or they are stifling. He just sat down and drew the map on how to recover states and how to expand the broad base of the influence of his party. And that is how President Bwala Tinubu began, and before you know, he was recovering states, and then he extended. No, let me finish. Allow me. No. Your apology should wait. He now extended the collaboration with the rest of Nigeria, and by 2015, the opposition was ready. Now, when you talk about accusing the governing party, why don't you bring that context as well?
That's what people are saying now, that under the PDP, the opposition was allowed to thrive such that the APC and, everybody who came together to form the APC were able to put their acts together, and it was clear that, it was going to be difficult for the PDP to even have a way to breathe. Now, under Muhammadu Buhari, there was opposition, but there was not this much chaos. But under President Bwala Tinubu, opposition is not, they can't find anywhere. You do get my question?
Your question is understood, but you also have to prepare yourself for my answer. Let me tell you this.
Because of time, my apologies.
President Bwala Tinubu, so if you read Machiavelli, you see there are philosophical thoughts around governance. That's why President Bwala Tinubu brings to the table intellectualism in his political activities. He's a robust intellectual in political activities. Look at it this way. These guys that are telling you, or these gentlemen that are telling you there is a stifling of the opposition, at least they should have been able to demonstrate that they have their people intact and their people are being persecuted. 80% of the governors have left them. Why is the conversation not about whether they have the capacity to manage their government? The governors are leaders of the party in the state. As a matter of fact, until there is an election and the party wins, the governors are the leaders of the party. These people have come to Asiwaju left, right, and center. Not under coercion. All of them are covered under Section 308. The conversation should have been by... Now, coming. The media, the talking point.
For instance, the
yes,
PDP,
but I will tell you that
the battle
the talking
they had to
point...
fight with Nyesom Wike and all of that, and it culminated in what had happened because the minister had actually said he's going to work for... My apologies, Mr. Bwala. I sincerely apologize. They said they are going to... the minister says he's going to work for the president, and he's very unapologetic about it. And you see what happened at the end of the day? Record high number from 13 governors. Let me go back. From 2007, PDP had 28 governors. Today, they had 1 member of a governors forum. That's how bad it is.
And we are hopeful that by the time the election comes, even that 1 member will collect it. That is our hope. So in case you are thinking that they have 1, if we can get all of them, we will get all of them, because we are building a government that will deliver, so that the opposition will be people with idea. They don't have idea. How can you say a party that the leaders of the party by themselves, not under coercion, 85% came to Asiwaju? You're accusing him for making his party and his government attractive in a way that people are coming. Let me give you another example with myself. I used to think, and I have been expressing that after the election, that the disposition of President Bola Tinubu is one that now after the election he was going to hunt down the opposition. And you know it, Mr. Joffrey. Consistently, I have been on the opposition on television, including what is widely being broadcast as, I said, if 30 years if you give Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, nothing will change, which was not what I said, and it was an interview you granted me on the 25th of December 2023. And that was not what I said now. But what I'm trying to say in essence, rather than haunting me, the president called me and said, you are a generation of young people that are the future of Nigeria. Come and be a part of what we are doing. This and many other people have similar experiences like that. So are you accusing him for making his party attractive? Instead, the talking point should have been, that the opposition, why are you so weak that governors are abandoning you? It's just like what is happening recently. Permit me, even if it is 30 seconds. Before now, the media houses have been saying anybody who changed party has a character issue, and they bounce on that for more than 1 year. When Peter Obi and his group start jumping up and down, the talking point in the media has changed from interrogating the character to talking about he has a right to defect to another party. Which one will
the issue with politicians in Nigeria, we really don't see the difference much. Maybe some people may have differences, you know, as party ideological.
No, you can have your difference, you can have your opinion, but what we are saying, be consistent. The media should be consistent. That's what I'm saying.
Yes, no problem. Let's talk about, some people have said this movement is not just... You are saying you've used that word like 3 times. Some say it's actually coercion, using the institution of state, whether judiciary or anti-graft agency. Some are saying the fear of power of federal might. Some have literally said it's even money. I don't know whether you want to answer that, but let me go to a very pointed question, Mr. Bwala. I want to ask you a very pointed question. I'm going to call 2 names. And which of these names that the president and your party is really can lose sleep over if they see them on the ballot? Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, Peter Obi.
They are familiar customers as you. I hope you know he defeated them in 2023, including the one that didn't contest as a presidential candidate, Rotimi Amechi, in the primaries. All of them seeking for the post of the president are his usual customers. And he defeated them when the odds were against him, when they were in their prime. Peter Obi, you need to see Kenneth Okonkwo that will tell you that leading to 2027, Peter Obi came into the politics with a dead political career. They will tell you that. And my former principal, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, till the cows come home, I will say he's a good man, he's a smart and intelligent man, and man with political credentials. The only problem is that Alhaji Atiku Abubakar is having what we call in football father time. When father time comes on you, the skill will be there, but you will not be able to act. It's just like Samson in the Bible. He said, I will rise as of other time, and I will shake my head, and I will shake the foundation. And he tried, he didn't move. The scripture says, Samson wits not that the spirit has departed.
I didn't know you were a pastor. I didn't know you were a pastor, Mr. Bwala. I respect your exegesis.
In Okocha's father time, this one will be of interest to you. In Okocha's father time, when the ball comes, you will see all kinds of skill. But Okocha cannot run. Okocha, the reason is because there's father time. That is what is confronting.
I don't want to end this conversation without talking about governance, because we're beginning to wind up. Mr. Bwala, Peter Obi, for instance, he breathes. Somebody reacts in the presidency or the APC. He sneezes. There's always one reaction. It looks like there's a bit of an obsession. Permit me my use of word. This is a man who pulled off without a structure. The first time in Nigeria's history, maybe since 1999, because we know how elections are put together and how people come out to perform in presidential election. Structureless, no governor, nothing. And he pulled up a 6.1 million vote from literally nowhere. Some people say it's 2 people on the laptop. And you said the president is not worried about that capacity?
So you can see that I was patient. You asked the question. Please permit me to answer. You see, Peter Obi, that you are talking about, the presidency reacts to him. No. When we keep quiet, Peter Obi and his obedient, from morning till the next morning, are talking about Ashwaju, government, and the rest. When we respond to them, you say we are reacting to them. Let me ask you this question. Peter Obi has a followership that they call the obedient, that are largely consist of people that are not human beings. We call bot account. Those of you, if you are very familiar with social media and the manipulation of algorithm, you will say that. But the real obedience that are human beings, when you see them on the street, they are not very many. That is one. Number two, you say he pulled what? At that time, he used religious rhetoric. The toxicity of what he introduced in 2023 will be a long time before he leaves us as a country. The same religious leaders that followed him at that time, right now, they don't feel his energy anymore. Why? Because at that time, it was very easy to whoop up religious sentiment because, on the other hand, there is a Muslim ticket. Tell me today, Mr. Geoffrey, since when Peter Obi governed as a governor in Anambra till today, whether you have seen any of his former commissioner, aide, administrative assistants that are still with him, he doesn't have man management skill. In 2019, he had Valentine Azigbo, he has Kenneth Okonkwo, he has all other persons. The person left right now is Aisha. She will come after now, probably to abuse me. These are the people remaining. And Aisha is following Peter Obi because she needed his own ticket to come to the Senate. Look at Abaribe. He left him and went to the other side. Let me tell you, for the opting time, all the governors that have governed Lagos who are protege of Ashwaji Bola Tinubu, every single one of them has a better record than Peter Obi. It's just that politics has been, anybody who says, I want to run for president has to be in the conversation.
I will not speak for him. He will be able to speak for himself when we have him on the show. By the end of the day...
No, you've already spoken for him for a while.
I'm just asking questions. Nigerians, we've got along religious...
He has unofficial spokesman there.
What did you say? I didn't get that.
If you go to Arise TV, he has no official spokesperson. And we are going to demand when the campaign starts that they recuse themselves so that they will go fully into his camp as spokesperson.
Let's leave the sister station. Let it just be between you and I. Let's keep it within the context of the conversation.
Masquerading as neutrals.
Let's come to governance for a moment. I know you like to talk politics, and this is a season where a lot of hot hair and all of this will be happening. Our job is to condense it so that people understand what is playing out. Let's talk about governance, and that has to do with the price of PMS. The other day, the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy had talked about the fact that the government is not looking at bringing back subsidies, so anybody who thinks in that direction should just forget about it. Price cap is not in the books, but we see what is playing out in the Gulf. Luckily, 2 days ago, I think the prices came below $100. But if you do the analytics from June of 2024, March of 2022 till the recent one that happens with Iraq, when prices of oil go above $100, it takes between 5 months to 1 year for it to stabilize around $70, $65, where we can now buy PMS maybe less than 1,000 naira. But the government seems to be acting like it's a deregulated market, so Nigerians should just deal with it. Because when it was, on the other side, you enjoyed less than 1,000. Is that a fair way, or is that a right characterization of the approach of government?
I do not think that the government is recalcitrant towards the Nigerian people. Our actions, our conducts, and our executive acts are there for the Nigerian people to see the commitment of the president to deliver on good governance to Nigerians. There are some of these details that you get it when you call the respective people in charge. Take, for example, if you want to have a detailed conversation on oil and gas, you know that in this our government, there are individuals who are tasked with that responsibility. When we had the issue of tax, you saw how the man who was manned with that responsibility was able to answer to the detail of those. But if you are talking on a generic term, the executive act of Mr. President has been consistent. And that is why right now, the same people that criticize us, the World Bank, the Brentwood, all of them have attested to the fact, metrics, numbers, are working in favor of the Nigeria's economy, that we're out of the worst period and we're moving towards recovery. The only question that we get asked anywhere today, we have dealt with all other questions. The only one question, any media house I go, they say, how do you translate the macroeconomics into microeconomics? Exactly. And my answer has been just simple. With a population of over 230 million, and with the meager amount that we have, it will take time. But we are focusing and prioritizing areas that are critical. We've told you about our intervention in the healthcare, dealing with critical health issues confronting our people, such as dialysis. We talked about the people in the downtrodden, the caesarean section. We told you about agriculture, which is necessary to feed a country. And you see the revolutionary act we take there. We told you about education. Human capital development is very important. You see our investment in Elhon. 1 million Nigerians are beneficiary. If we have more money, probably it will be 10 million Nigerians. We talked about infrastructure, that they say we needed 30 to 100 billion for 30 years to put Nigeria. With the little, you can see all over Nigeria, infrastructural program going on. And at the same time, you see the president going around the world, partnering for us to increase our capacity.
Yes. Mr. Bwala, so that you don't call us mindless critics, we can identify some of the good efforts. So, for instance, I'll give you the debt servicing to revenue is better than it was before. We have the FX reserve is better than it was before. So we're seeing all of those numbers. We've seen the dashboard. Like you say, we always ask how this will trickle down to the average person. You are special advisor to the president on policy communication. So a pointed question, if for any reason, for instance, because that's why I'm going to with my question, subsidies come in two forms. It's either it's production subsidy or consumption subsidy, because as soon as crude oil prices go up, it has a knock-on effect on yield bonds, on interest rates, inflation, you know, all of the things it affects. So that's why it affects the common man directly. So if crude oil prices go to maybe $150 per barrel or $160, God forbid, and we're seeing petrol prices at our pump station 2,000 or 2,000 plus, is the government going to be reacting like this still?
In the World Bank principle governing what would they call, whether subsidy or whatever, there is what they call, I think what's that word? They said applying the exception to the rule, which is that even when you said you have removed subsidy, but there are occasions that will warrant for you to intervene in some other areas. The concept of subsidy itself is not anathema to this government. That's why you see we have subsidized on dialysis to 50%. We have subsidized in areas of agricultural element, things that affect our people. But the subsidy on oil, the reason why we say no is because historically, the beneficiaries of this subsidy, so to speak, are not the Nigerian people, not the ordinary people. It is fraud people in that industry. And that's why the president is consistent, and he said he is not going to return the subsidy in that. And we have seen the impact. All the governors of Nigeria are happy because of increased revenue.
Well, the governors may be happy, but the people are not happy because we're buying fresh. So, well, in wrapping up, Mr. Bwala, we're totally out of that.
The governors are the representative of the people. They get the money to administer governance to the people.
Do a poll and ask how many people are happy with their governors. But that's not your problem. You are the federal government.
Because they have refused to focus on their states and they are focusing on the federal government.
Because Mr. Bwala, I have a list of Sri Lanka, for instance, is doing what's it called now? Subsidies, Indonesia, subsidies, Japan, subsidies, Indonesia, Japan, price caps in South Korea, Hungary, Mexico, Serbia, rationing in Sri Lanka, and several other persons, sometimes on the production end, using fiscal policy, maybe to cut taxes on the production end so that the knock-on effect can get to all of us. But it looks like the government is just saying, okay, let's not intervene and see how this plays out.
If it demands, President Bola Tinubu's style of leadership is not rigid, it's flexible. That's why even with borrowing, he said it is not leprosy. If there is a demand for subsidy, President Bola Tinubu will do that. For now, the government policy has not seen the suitability of that. So, but what I'm saying is rest your mind when the demand comes. I'm even surprised you call Sri Lanka. You didn't call Peter Obi's favorite country, Malaysia.
You see what I'm saying about your obsession with Peter Obi? I did not. Mr. Daniel Bwala, thank you as always for coming through.
Speech arbitral.
No, please, let's leave personalities out of it so that we don't get into trouble. But I must thank you so much.
When you see him, greet.
Yeah, we'll have a conversation with him. And in the coming days, the political hot air is here, so we're here to entertain everybody. Mr. Daniel Bwala is a special advisor to the president on policy communications. Thank you for coming on the program. I appreciate it.